The interactive technical manual for approved Federation visitors and Starfleet personnel is now active on this terminal. Please indicate whether you wish to resume from a previously saved tour file or begin again. Please indicate whether you wish to begin with a guided tour or explore on your own initiative.
You're looking at Starfleet's flagship vessel, the Galaxy-class starship USS Enterprise. Registration number NCC-1701D. Incorporating the latest developments in warp field theory, sensor capabilities, and defensive systems, this ship represents the United Federation of Planets' greatest technological achievement. I'm Commander William T. Riker, and for the past 7 years I've had the honor of serving as first officer of this vessel. My job is to make sure the ship is 100% ready at all times to carry out her captain's instructions, and that requires me to be intimately familiar with every detail of her operation. Over the course of this tour, I'll be sharing some of those details with you. If at any time you would like to interrupt this tour to explore on your own, just activate the Tour Interrupt control. The bridge. After being aboard the Enterprise for any length of time, you quickly come to think of it as a living entity, and you come to think of this area of the ship as its guiding intelligence. Located on Deck 1, at the very top of the saucer section, the bridge provides for centralization of all command and control functions. This amount of control is only possible through extensive use of the ship's computer. The computer carries out all routine operations supervised by the officers seated at the 2 forward duty stations, Ops and Con. Don't be fooled into thinking that the computer really runs the Enterprise. During alert situations, control of every critical operation is in the hands of a trained Starfleet officer. This is the captain's ready room, located just off the main bridge. This suite serves as an office. Note the desk and computer terminal, but it's also a little more than that. Captain Picard has taken care to surround himself with certain items. Shakespeare's works, Livingston, his lionfish, a model of the Stargazer, the first starship he commanded. Items that, as he puts it, give him a much-needed perspective on his duties. Because while it may be my job to see that the Enterprise is fully prepared to deal with whatever we find out here in space, it's the captain who has to choose our ultimate course of action. The ready room gives him a place to do just that, to get ready to make the hard decisions that confront a starship captain every day. Deck 36, main engineering, the very heart of our starship. Without the massive amounts of power being generated by the matter-antimatter reactor, not only warp travel, but our very survival in space would not be possible. These critical systems require constant fine-tuning and round-the-clock attention. And more often than not, you'll find our chief engineer, Commander Geordi LaForge, hard at work here, checking the master systems display or observing the core reactor patterns from his office. An important note about this facility: in extreme emergencies, it can be reconfigured to emulate con, ops, tactical, and other command operations, including limited flight control functions. Here aboard the Enterprise, our primary mission is exploration. The technology contained in this room gives us incredible flexibility in carrying out that assignment. This is the transporter room, one of 4 such facilities located here on Deck 6. 2 others are located on Deck 14. Transporting makes some people I know nervous, but it's really a straightforward process. You stand on the transporter pad. The overhead scanners convert your body into a stream of subatomic particles. You're transported thousands of kilometers to your destination and then reintegrated atom by atom. What could be safer? Sickbay serves as the primary medical care facility for all of the 1,012 crew and family members aboard the Enterprise. Each of these biobeds is directly tied into the sensor unit above it, aiding in the diagnosis of most ailments regardless of the species of the patient. And should surgery be necessary, the overhead sensor cluster you see here provides even more comprehensive readings. In the hands of the wrong doctor, all this equipment could be a little bit intimidating, which is why I'm glad for the reassuring presence of our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Beverly Crusher. 10 forward. This is the 10 forward lounge, so named because it occupies most of the forward area of the ship on deck 10. Like the holodeck, 10 forward is a place for the crew to relax and unwind from the day's cares. The spectacular view of the stars through the bay windows here certainly helps to put things in perspective. But this is mainly a place where the crew comes to enjoy each other's company, to play a game of 3D chess, or just hash things out over a drink. It's really like an old-style saloon more than anything else, complete with its own bartender, an amateur psychologist, Guinan, who also serves up the meanest batch of synthahol this side of the Ferengi border. The observation lounge. Critical decisions concerning the Enterprise's mission are, of course, Captain Picard's to make. Yet whenever possible, he likes to use his senior officers as a sounding board on those issues. This lounge, located directly off the bridge on Deck 1, has been specially outfitted for that purpose. Note the conference table and accompanying pad units, as well as the 2 large display screens located on either end of the room. Don't be misled by the empty space, the plain-looking yellow grid lines on the wall. This room is the most exciting and technologically advanced form of recreation Starfleet has to offer. This is the Holodeck, one of 4 such facilities located on Deck 11. In here, through the use of holographic projections, force fields, and matter replication, the crew can experience any environment they can imagine. You'll often find me in here hiking the mountains of my native Alaska, or engaged in other quiet pursuits. The captain's quarters. Though these are Captain Picard's personal quarters, and he is a very private individual, we've decided that it was important to show you his room anyway, and in particular, one object. Not a certain flute, although it holds the memories of a lifetime for the captain. Nor this Klingon dagger, though it too holds great significance. What I wanted to show you was this Mintakan tapestry. The Mintakans came to regard Captain Picard as a god because of a breach in the Prime Directive. I believe the captain leaves the tapestry on display as a reminder to himself of the overriding importance of the Prime Directive in fulfilling our mission. Data's quarters. This very ordinary-looking room houses an extraordinary individual. Our ship's third-in-command and operations manager, Commander Data. You'll immediately note the absence of a bed in here. That's because Data is an android who never needs to sleep, although he has experimented with the concept. He's also experimented with a lot of other things, as you can tell by looking around the room. His violin, his painting, his Sherlock Holmes costume. Even the food dish that belongs to his cat Spot are all evidence of his desire to experience everything that we humans do, to know what it means to be one of us. Though I sometimes think he misses the point, it's the constant striving to achieve, to learn and experience all that one possibly can that helps form the very definition of humanity. And in that respect, Data is at least as human as any of us. Troy's quarters. These quarters reveal very little about their occupant. The bunk, food replicator unit, and desktop viewer are all standard issue. But then the officer who occupies them, Commander Deanna Troi, doesn't make a habit of disclosing too much information about herself either. A part of that, I think, goes along with being ship's counselor, the one person on board the Enterprise that everyone runs to with their problems. In that role, you don't get into the habit of revealing too much about yourself. But I can personally vouch for the fact that hidden behind Deanna's serene exterior, there is a complex, compassionate individual. Worf's quarters. This foreboding suite belongs to our ship's security officer, the equally foreboding Lieutenant Worf. the only Klingon officer in Starfleet. Worf's heritage as a member of that warrior race is obviously very important to him. You can see evidence of that everywhere you look in here. Some might say that the prominent display of these artifacts, the statue of the legendary Klingon Emperor Kahless, the bat'leth, the numerous swords and ceremonial items that decorate these walls, proves the impossibility of peaceful coexistence with the Klingons, that even the best of them can never shed their warrior heritage. I disagree. To me, their presence embodies the Vulcan concept of idic, infinite diversity in infinite combination. Words that, while not explicitly spelled out in the Starfleet Charter, go straight to the heart of everything the United Federation of Planets stands for.
Exterior view of the Galaxy-class starship USS Enterprise, NCC 1701D. Galaxy-class starship USS Enterprise, NCC 1701D, was built at the Utopia Planitia Fleet Yards above Mars and commissioned in 2363. It is presently commanded by Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Mission objectives for Galaxy-class starships include exploration, scientific and cultural research, and implementation of Federation policy. Ship design requirements include independent operation for 7 standard years at nominal warp 6 velocity, deep space exploration missions including charting and mapping, first cultural contact scenarios, and full biologic and ecologic studies. Classified as an explorer, the largest starship in a classification system that includes cruiser, cargo carrier, tanker, surveyor, and scout. Starfleet has long been charged with a broad spectrum of responsibilities to the Federation and the galaxy at large. As the volume of explored space continues to grow, so do those duties, and the need for multi-purpose ships such as the USS Enterprise. The Galaxy-class starship Enterprise is the 5th ship so named and honors the original starship Enterprise. USS Enterprise, NCC 1701, was a Constitution-class vessel commissioned in 2245. Commanded in turn by Captain Robert April, Captain Christopher Pike, and Captain James T. Kirk, the ship was instrumental in Starfleet's early exploration of deep space. USS Enterprise, NCC 1701A, a Constitution-class vessel, was commissioned in 2286. Originally named Yorktown, this ship, redesignated Enterprise and assigned to the command of Captain James T. Kirk, played a vital role in the success of the Khitomer Conference. USS Enterprise NCC 1701B, an Excelsior-class vessel, was launched in 2294 under the command of Captain James Harriman. USS Enterprise NCC 1701C, an Ambassador-class ship, was built at the Earth Station McKinley facility. Commanded by Captain Rachel Garrett, this ship was lost in 2344 near the Narendra system. USS USS Enterprise NCC 1701D, a Galaxy-class starship, was commissioned in 2363. It is presently commanded by Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Exterior view of the Galaxy-class starship USS Enterprise. Mission-critical systems aboard a Galaxy-class starship include propulsion, science, navigation, and tactical. Primary warp propulsion aboard the Enterprise is provided by a fifth-phase matter-antimatter reactor. Secondary impulse propulsion power is provided by fusion drive motors. The ship's two warp field nacelles serve as termination points for the energetic plasma created by the matter-antimatter reaction. Within each nacelle, material is directed by the plasma injection system into the warp field coils and converted into usable propulsion energy. The ship's two warp field nacelles serve as termination points for the energetic plasma created by the matter-antimatter reaction. Within each nacelle, material is directed by the plasma injection system into the warp field coils and converted into usable propulsion energy. The Enterprise's warp field coils generate an intense multi-layered energy field around the starship. Manipulation of this field produces the necessary propulsive effect to drive the ship through and beyond the speed of light. Subspace field geometry refers to the specific energy field alignments associated with a particular starship. Mission-critical systems aboard a Galaxy-class starship include propulsion, science, navigation, and tactical. Primary warp propulsion aboard the Enterprise is provided. Principal sublight propulsion, as well as specific auxiliary power requirements, are handled by the impulse propulsion system. This system is powered by a deuterium fusion reaction used in conjunction with a compact space-time driver coil. Impulse drive provides power for principal sublight propulsion of the Enterprise. Power is derived from two sets of fusion power engines, the main impulse engine and the saucer module impulse engines. Due to the time dilation effect encountered at appreciable fractions of light speed, extended flight at high relativistic speeds can place mission objectives in jeopardy. Normal impulse operations are therefore limited to a velocity of 0.25 c. Primary warp propulsion aboard the Enterprise is provided by a fifth-phase. The ship's reaction control system is designed primarily for sublight station-keeping operations. Individual thrusters are grouped into independent saucer module and battle section assemblies. Mission-critical systems aboard a Galaxy-class starship. Science and navigation systems are essential to the fulfillment of primary mission duties, including research and exploration. There are three primary sensor systems aboard the Enterprise: the long-range array, the lateral array, and the navigational sensors. The long-range sensor array is located in the engineering hull directly behind the main deflector dish. This array contains a cluster of high-power active and passive subspace frequency sensors. Each lateral sensor array consists of a continuous rack in which a series of modular sensor instrument pallets are mounted. Starfleet sensor pallets are designed for easy replacement and customization of instrumentation. 2/3 of all pallet positions are occupied by standard science sensor packages. Navigational sensors constantly process incoming sensor data to acquire usable position and velocity information. These sensors and dedicated analytical circuitry intentionally mimic biological solutions to the problem of navigation. Science and and navigation systems are essential to the main deflector dish supports the navigational deflector emitter array. It focuses the deflector beam into a powerful tractor deflector and a series of low-level shields to sweep aside objects and particles in the ship's path. The saucer deflectors act as a backup to the main deflector dish. In separated flight mode, it is utilized in place of the main deflector by the saucer module. Tractor emitters forcefully repel or attract remote objects utilizing superimposed subspace graviton force beams. The transporter emitter pad array transmits and receives the transporter matter stream and the annular confinement beam. The transporter targeting scanners consist of 15 partially redundant sensor clusters that determine transporter coordinates, including bearing, range, and relative velocity. Science and navigation systems are essential to the fulfillment of primary mission duties, including research and exploration. Mission-critical systems aboard a Galaxy-class starship include propulsion, science. Tactical systems refer to starship equipment and personnel involved in encounters with threat forces. Phasers are directed energy devices currently in use aboard all Starfleet vehicles. The term comes from the energy-producing process used to power these devices. Phaser, or phased energy rectification, is the common term for a complex energy release process. Phaser devices were developed to replace pure EM devices such as lasers and particle beam accelerators. Phaser bank emplacements are arranged in 12 arrays located on the dorsal and ventral surfaces. 2 additional arrays provide lateral coverage. Phaser activation begins upon command authorization. Energetic plasma is directed into the pre-fire chamber, and the resulting energy packet is discharged through an emitter chamber. Phaser operational tactics are determined by an extensive set of practical and theoretical scenarios stored within the computer. Typical phaser-related maneuvers deal with sublight starship velocities due to the dissipation of phaser energy in the vicinity of moving warp fields. Tactical systems refer to starship equipment and person. Photon torpedoes are Starfleet's primary warp-capable defensive weapons system. Standard photon torpedo configuration includes deuterium and antideuterium holding tanks, central combiner tank, magnetic suspension components, target acquisition, guidance, and detonation assemblies, and warp sustainer engine. Photon torpedoes are directed against threat force targets at distances from 15 to nearly 3,500,000 kilometers. Targeting is directed by the tactical officer following command authorization. The computer maintains regularly updated files of actual and simulated threat tracking algorithms, including adaptive algorithms for new threat targets. Tactical systems refer to starship equipment and total destruction of the USS Enterprise or either of its separated components can be initiated by special command authorization procedures. Initiation of the auto-destruct sequence can only be ordered by authorized command personnel. Input will be accepted from officers ranking from captain to operations manager. Under the preferred auto-destruct scenario, matter from the primary deuterium tanks and antimatter from the storage pods on Deck 42 are expelled simultaneously. The secondary destruct scenario includes detonation of ordnance placed at key locations throughout the starship. This scenario is invoked for the saucer module during separated flight mode. Mission-critical systems aboard a Galaxy-class starship include propulsion. Main structural subsystems of the USS Enterprise include skeletal framework, external hull, inertial damping system, and structural integrity field. The main skeletal structure consists of a tritanium-duranium space frame, a secondary framework of terminium trusses, the inner hull structure, and the exterior hull substrate. An integrated coordinate system utilizing standard three-dimensional vertex and vector measuring schemes governs manufacturing, repair, and operational structural reference points aboard all Starfleet vessels. Multiple exterior hull layers provide structural and atmospheric integrity, waveguides and field conductive members for the structural integrity field, and pathways for other utilities. The structural integrity field system provides a network of force field segments to compensate for propulsive and other structural load factors that otherwise exceed the design limits of the space frame. The inertial damping field system generates a controlled series of variable symmetry force fields to absorb the inertial forces of spaceflight. Failure of the structural integrity field or the inertial damping field implies catastrophic consequences. Failure of any two of the 5 field generators requires immediate initiation of alert status. Exterior view of the Galaxy-class starship USS Enterprise. Structural features. The primary hull or saucer module is one of 2 separate spacecraft systems that when joined together form the USS Enterprise. Emergency landing of the saucer module on a planetary body is the final option, short of total evacuation by lifeboat modules. separation systems are engaged during specific emergency conditions, allowing independent operation of the primary saucer and secondary engineering modules. Saucer separation proceeds upon confirmed operator signal and is computer controlled to allow real-time adjustment of structural integrity and inertial damping fields. Structural features. The engineering hull, sometimes referred to as the battle section, is one of the two separate spacecraft systems that when joined together form the USS Enterprise. Saucer separation systems are engaged during specific emergency conditions, allowing independent operation of the primary saucer and secondary engineering modules. The ship's two warp field nacelles serve as termination points for the energetic plasma created by the matter-antimatter reaction. Within each nacelle, material is directed by the plasma injection system into the warp field coils and converted into usable propulsion energy. The power transfer conduits direct energetic plasma from the matter-antimatter reaction chamber to the warp field nacelles. The USS Enterprise is equipped with three major shuttle bay facilities: the main shuttle bay located on Deck 4 and two secondary shuttle bays located on Deck 13. Located on Deck 4, the main shuttle bay provides launch support, recovery, and maintenance facilities for shuttle operations. Shuttle Bay 2, located on Deck 13 of the secondary hull, includes a dedicated maintenance bay for servicing sensor array pallets. Two adjacent maintenance bays provide servicing for mission-specific sensor instrumentation. Shuttle Bay 3, located on Deck 13 of the secondary hull, includes hardware for short-term conversion to Class H, K, or L environmental conditions intended for use in emergency evacuation situations. The Enterprise is equipped with 7 different shuttle vehicles ranging in size from 2-person shuttle pods to warp-powered cargo transports. Personnel Shuttle Type 6 can be configured to accommodate up to 8 persons and is intended for use as a light short-range warp shuttle. Personnel Shuttle Type 7 can be configured to accommodate up to 8 persons and is intended for use as a medium short-range warp shuttle. Cargo Shuttle Type 9A can carry a crew of 3 and is intended for use as a long-range warp shuttle. The USS Enterprise is equipped with 3 shuttle pods and EVA. Shuttle Pod Type 15 is a 2-person craft intended for short-range usage. Shuttle Pod Type 15A is a 2-person craft, slightly more powerful than Type 15, also intended for short-range usage. Shuttle Pod Type 16 is a 2-person craft intended for use in medium-range operations. Space Work Pod Type M1 can be configured to accommodate 1 to 3 persons and is intended for use in the manipulation of industrial payloads. Extravehicular activity refers to situations in which crew members are required to exit the starship into an airless or otherwise hostile environment. Such situations may include detailed visual inspections, periodic maintenance, damage control, and specialized hardware modifications. Structural features. Exterior view of the Galaxy-class starship USS Enterprise. Exterior details. The main bridge is located at the top of the saucer module on Deck 1 and constitutes the primary operational control center of the Enterprise. The captain's yacht is a specialized auxiliary spacecraft. It is used at the captain's discretion to transport diplomatic personnel. By naval tradition, this craft is also referred to as the captain's gig. The 10 Forward Lounge, located on Deck 10, provides optimum socialization conditions for the Enterprise crew. Large arboretums such as this one, once used to help regulate shipboard atmosphere and provide fresh fruit and vegetables as dietary supplements, are now mainly utilized as recreational facilities. Lifeboat hatches are exit points for the ship's autonomous survival and rescue vehicles. Exterior view of the Galaxy-class starship USS Enterprise, NCC 1701D. The main bridge is located at the top of the saucer module on Deck 1 and constitutes the primary operational control center of the Enterprise. CON is the standard abbreviation for Flight Control Officer. CON is responsible for all operations related to flight and navigation. Bearing refers to a flight vector specified as an azimuth elevation relative to the current orientation of the spacecraft. Heading refers to a flight vector specified as an azimuth elevation relative to the center of the galaxy. The Flight Control Officer has 5 major areas of responsibility: navigation, supervision of automatic flight operations, manual flight operations, position verification, and bridge liaison to engineering. 6 input modes for specification of spacecraft flight paths are available: destination planet or star system, destination sector, spacecraft intercept, relative bearing, absolute heading, and galactic coordinates. The main bridge is located at the top of the saucer module on Deck 1 and constitutes the primary operational control center of the Enterprise. OPS is the standard abbreviation for Operations Management Officer. OPS is responsible for prioritizing demands for ship's resources to ensure their most efficient utilization. The Ops panel presents the Operations Manager with a continually updated list of major shipboard activities, enabling the on-duty officer to track those instances requiring attention. Flight operations include power generation, propulsion, environmental support, and all other functions related to the spaceworthiness of the Enterprise. Mission types conducted by the USS Enterprise include deep space exploration, scientific investigation, contact of alien species, Federation policy and diplomacy, tactical and defense and emergency rescue operations. Galaxy-class Starship flight and mission operations are carried out in one of 6 operating modes: cruise mode, red alert, yellow alert, external support mode, separated flight mode, and reduced power mode. Cruise mode is the normal operating condition of the USS Enterprise. Yellow alert protocols are invoked during possible crisis situations and indicate a ship-wide state of increased preparedness. Red alert protocols are invoked during actual or imminent emergencies in which the starship or its crew are endangered. External support mode protocols are typically invoked when the Enterprise is docked at a starbase or other support facility. External support mode implies conditions of reduced system operations. Separated flight mode protocols are invoked when the saucer module has separated from the star drive section. Reduced power mode protocols are invoked when power availability or usage is reduced to less than 26% of normal cruise mode requirements. OPS is the standard abbreviation for Shipboard emergency operations include a wide variety of systems, protocols, trained personnel, and specialized hardware specifically designed to maximize crew safety. Fire suppression procedures programmed into the computer include generation of containing force fields, activation of section isolation doors, and venting of the affected section of the ship. Rescue and evac operations refer to those emergency procedures involving mass transport to and from the starship. OPS is the standard abbreviation for Operations Management. Crew support aboard the Enterprise is maximized through organizational structure, educational and recreational facilities, and living accommodations. Crew quarters aboard the Enterprise offer a maximum degree of comfort consistent with the starship environment. Average personal living space is approximately 110 square meters. The main bridge is located at the top of the saucer module on Deck 1 and constitutes the primary operational control center of the Enterprise. Tactical refers to those starship systems concerned with threat force response and starship internal security. Phaser is the generic term for the directed energy devices currently in use aboard all Starfleet vehicles. The term comes from the energy-producing process used to power both the ship's defensive weaponry and smaller handheld devices. Phaser bank emplacements are arranged in 12 arrays located on the dorsal and ventral surfaces. 2 additional arrays provide lateral coverage. Phaser activation begins upon command authorization. Energetic plasma is directed into the pre-fire chamber, and the resulting energy packet is discharged through an emitter chamber. Phaser operational tactics are determined by an extensive set of practical and theoretical scenarios stored within the computer. Typical phaser-related maneuvers deal with sublight starship velocities due to the dissipation of phaser energy in the vicinity of moving warp fields. Tactical refers to those starships. Photon torpedoes are Starfleet's primary warp-capable defensive weapons system. Graviton torpedo configuration includes deuterium and antideuterium holding tanks, central combiner tank, magnetic suspension components, target acquisition, guidance, and detonation assemblies, and warp sustainer engine. Photon torpedoes are directed against threat force targets at distances from 15 to nearly 3,500,000 kilometers. Targeting is directed by the tactical officer following command authorization. The computer maintains regularly updated files of actual and simulated threat tracking algorithms, including adaptive algorithms for new threat targets. Tactical refers to those starship systems concerned with threat force The battle bridge is command and control center for tactical operations during separated flight mode. Enhanced tactical analysis and weapons control stations are provided. Deflector shields are the Enterprise's primary defensive mechanism, protecting ship and crew from natural and artificial hazards. An array of graviton polarity source generators power the deflector system. Deflectors operate at 5% of rated output in cruise mode. During alert situations, shields are raised to defensive configuration by increasing generator power to at least 85% of rated output. Tactical refers to those starship systems concerned with total destruction of the USS Enterprise or either of its separated components can be initiated by special command authorization procedures. Starfleet tactical policies mandate the use of all available resources to anticipate and defuse potential conflict before the need for force arises. The on-duty tactical officer is charged with the monitoring of internal security systems and also bears primary responsibility for starship defense functions. The main bridge is located at the top of the saucer module on Deck 1 and constitutes the Primary mission objectives for the USS Enterprise include scientific experimentation and research. Priority is assigned to the fulfillment of these objectives in determining utilization of ship's resources. Instrumented probe spacecraft are used to obtain data that are not available via the ship's sensors. The Class 1 sensor probe carries a full palette of EM subspace and interstellar chemistry sensors and is generally utilized for in-space applications. The Class 2 sensor probe carries a full palette of EM subspace and interstellar chemistry sensors, as well as enhanced long-range and imaging systems, utilized for in-space applications. The Class 3 planetary probe carries a full palette of terrestrial and gas giant sensors with material sample and return capability. It is intended for limited planetary exploration. The Class 4 stellar encounter probe carries triply redundant stellar field and particle detectors. It is also deployable for exploration of non-stellar energy phenomena. The Class 5 medium-range reconnaissance probe employs numerous passive data gathering and recording systems and can be modified for critical tactical applications. The Class 6 comm relay emergency beacon contains a standard sensor palette, as well as an extended deuterium supply to power the onboard subspace transceiver. The Class 7 remote culture study probe combines a passive data gathering system with a subspace transceiver, intended for observation of civilizations up to technology level 3. The long-range multi-mission warp probe contains a standard sensor palette plus mission-specific modules. Applications range from galactic particle research to early warning reconnaissance missions. The Class 9 long-range multi-mission warp probe contains a standard sensor palette plus mission-specific modules. It is typically used to transport an emergency log message capsule on homing trajectory to nearest Starfleet position. Primary mission objectives for the U.S. There are 3 primary sensor systems aboard the Enterprise: the long-range array, the lateral array, and the navigational sensors. The ship's science department is assigned priority links to Con, Ops, and Tactical, enabling secondary research missions such as stellar mapping, planetary surveys, and life form studies to proceed simultaneously with the ship's primary mission. Science Stations 1 and 2 are configured for independent operation, but can be linked together for cooperative processing. The main bridge is located at the top of the saucer module. Mission Ops is standard abbreviation for Mission Operations Manager. Mission Ops is specifically responsible for monitoring activity relating to secondary missions. Communications. Intra-ship communications aboard the Enterprise include voice and data transmissions. Both are handled by the shipboard computer and dedicated peripheral hardware nodes. Communications external to the spacecraft are routed from the main computers to radio frequency and subspace radio system nodes. Ship-to-ship and ship-to-starbase transmissions typically utilize subspace radio systems. These communications can span distances of tens of light years. Starfleet Subspace Communication Network includes untended relay booster beacons and crew-tended communications bases spaced at intervals of 20 light years. An increasing degree of intragalactic communication is theorized as responsible for the gradual acceleration in overall galactic development. The Universal Translator is an extremely sophisticated computer program designed to detect patterns in an unknown form of communication and derive a translation matrix to permit real-time verbal or data exchanges. Mission Ops is standard abbreviation. Responsibilities relating to shipboard communications are assigned by Ops, in conjunction with Mission Ops and Tactical. The main bridge is located at the top of the Environmental Systems Bridge Duty Station permits monitoring and control of life support systems. Atmospheric systems monitor and deliver temperature and humidity-controlled environmental gases throughout the starship. Artificial gravity aboard the Enterprise is provided by a network of small gravity generators. This network is divided into 4 regions, 2 within the saucer module and 2 within the battle section. Major life support equipment facilities are located in the primary hull on decks 6, 9, and 13, and in the engineering hull on decks 11, 21, 24, and 34. The primary life support systems are comprised of 2 parallel systems, each serving as a backup to the other. Emergency environment systems aboard the Enterprise consist of an emergency backup system designed to provide ship-wide lighting and atmospheric supply for approximately 30 minutes and 52 emergency support shelters. The waste management systems aboard the Enterprise make optimal reuse of waste products, utilizing technology to approximate complex ecologic processes. The main bridge is located at the top of the saucer module on Deck 1. It constitutes the Engineering Systems Monitor summarizes primary status displays from main engineering, enabling the Chief Engineer to maintain supervision over those systems while on the bridge. Priority access by the Chief Engineer or senior staff from the engineering station provides full control of virtually all engineering systems. Engineering displays are also accessible from Ops and Con bridge duty stations. Pre-programmed diagnostic software and procedures exist for all key operating systems. These diagnostic protocols are generally classified into one of 5 levels, Level 1 being the most comprehensive and time-consuming. The main bridge is located at the top of the saucer module on Deck 1. Guidance and navigation functions control spacecraft motions and determinations of specific locations in 3 and 4 dimensions. Accurate spacecraft guidance requires precise attitude and translational control. Numerous systems are involved, including the inertial baseline input system, the ship's structural integrity field, inertial damping systems, and reaction control system. Major external sensors employed in calculating location include stellar graviton detectors, stellar pair coordinate imagers, pulsar quasar counters, far infrared scanners, and Federation time-based beacon receivers. Interstellar navigation requires precise coordination of computers, sensors, deflectors, and crew. Calculations are significantly complicated by warp speed operations. A mapping and galactic heading system has been established within the Milky Way galaxy to provide a common navigational frame of reference, aiding exploration, trade, and diplomacy. Low-mass particles such as interstellar gas and dust grains are translated away from the ship's flight path by the main navigational deflector. The main bridge is located at the top of the saucer module on control and display panels aboard the USS Enterprise are software-defined surfaces, continually updated and reconfigured for maximum operator efficiency. Operational authority for the Enterprise rests with the commanding officer, who is responsible for execution of Starfleet orders and policy, as well as for interpretation and compliance with Federation law and directives. The door to the crew's head is located between the starboard equipment bays and the door to the observation lounge. chair incorporates a large information display console, permitting acquisition and manipulation of data in the performance of that officer's duties. Armrests of the captain's chair incorporate miniaturized status displays and simplified con and ops controls. The captain can use these controls to override the basic operation of the spacecraft. Typically located to the captain's left, the ship's counselor's chair includes a large information display console, permitting acquisition and manipulation of data while on duty. The dedicated emergency turbolift leading from the main bridge to the battle bridge is located to the starboard side of the con station. The captain's ready room is located just off the main bridge and serves as an office for the ship's commanding officer. Terminal provides full access to the LCARS computer net. It can be operated both by voice and keypad commands. Shakespeare William, Earth dramatist and poet, lived 1564 to 1616. Curlin artifact given to Captain Picard by archaeologist Richard Galen. The smaller figures symbolize the Curlin belief that each person is made up of a community of individuals with different voices and desires. This is a model of the Constellation-class ship, the USS Stargazer, lost in the Battle of Maxia. The lionfish, Scorpaenidea pterois, is a native of planet Earth. Its mane-like circle of spines can cause deep, painful stab wounds. While these spines are quite poisonous, they are only defensive and cannot be used to attack prey. Standard replicator unit capable of synthesizing a wide variety of beverages and meals. Recommended command grammar is item, descriptor, descriptor. Example, tea, Earl Grey, hot. bridge is located at the top of the saucer module on Deck 1 and constitutes the primary operational control center of the Enterprise. This lounge is primarily utilized by the Enterprise senior officers for staff meetings and has been specially outfitted for that purpose. Button pads provide access to the ship's intercom system, computer network, and visual display devices. Personal access display device. Personal access display device, configured to display the Federation Cardassian boundary map. Display chart, configured to present Enterprise D system status. Display, configured to present Starfleet operations chart. The main bridge is located at the top of the saucer module on Deck 1 and constitutes the primary operational control center of the Enterprise. The Master Control Center for all engineering systems, including warp and impulse propulsion. Command functions can be rerouted to this location, enabling it to serve as a backup control center. The Master Situation Monitor features a cutaway of the starship, showing the location of key systems and hardware and highlighting elements experiencing abnormal conditions. The Master Systems display permits duty engineers to gain an overall understanding of the operational status of the spacecraft. This console can be configured for limited flight control functions in emergency situations. Primary status display for impulse propulsion and related systems. Impulse drive provides power for principal sublight propulsion of the Enterprise. Power is derived from two sets of fusion power engines, the main impulse engine and the saucer module impulse engines. Fuel supplies for the impulse propulsion system are contained within the primary deuterium tank of the battle section and a set of 32 auxiliary cryo tanks in the saucer module. The main impulse engine is located on Deck 23 and is composed of 4 individual impulse engines grouped together. 2 groups of 2 engines form the saucer module impulse engines. The impulse propulsion system is commanded through operational software routines stored within the main computers. Due to the time dilation effect encountered at appreciable fractions of light speed, extended flight at high relativistic speeds can place mission objectives in jeopardy. Normal impulse operations are therefore limited to a velocity of 0.25 c. The Master Control Center for all engineering systems, including warp and impulse propulsion. Command functions can be rerouted to this location, enabling it to serve as a primary status display for warp propulsion and related systems. Current warp field theory is based on continuum distortion propulsion, developed by Zephram Cochrane in the mid-21st century. The matter-antimatter reaction assembly is variously referred to as the warp reactor, warp engine core, and main engine core. Energy produced within the core is shared between starship propulsion and other major ship systems. The upper and lower magnetic constriction segments constitute the central mass of the core and serve as structural support for the reaction chamber. Matter-antimatter reactant injectors prepare and feed precisely controlled streams of matter and antimatter into the core. The matter-antimatter reaction chamber consists of 2 matched bell-shaped cavities, which contain and redirect the primary reaction. Dilithium crystal is the only known material which can be made non-reactive with antimatter. This property makes it necessary for the efficient use of energy produced by the matter-antimatter reaction. The warp propulsion system consists of 3 major assemblies. The matter-antimatter reactor. The ship's 2 warp field nacelles serve as termination points for the energetic plasma created by the matter-antimatter reaction. Within each nacelle, material is directed by the plasma injection system into the warp field coils and converted into usable propulsion energy. The power transfer conduits direct energetic plasma from the matter-antimatter reaction chamber to the warp field nacelles. The Enterprise's warp field coils generate an intense multi-layered energy field around the starship. Manipulation of this field produces the necessary propulsive effect to drive the ship through and beyond the speed of light. Subspace field geometry refers to the specific energy field alignments associated with a particular starship. The warp propulsion system consists of 3 antimatter storage and transfer occurs on Deck 42. 30 storage pods are available. Pods are constructed of polyduranium with an intermagnetic field layer of ferroconium. The field supply for the warp propulsion system is contained within the primary deuterium tank, located in the battle section. Ram scoop replenishment occurs when normal deuterium refueling cannot take place. The Enterprise is able to pull low-grade matter from the interstellar medium through a series of specialized high-energy magnetic coils. The devices utilized in this process are known collectively as a Bussard ram scoop. The antimatter generator on Deck 42 is capable of producing small amounts of antimatter during potential emergency situations. It consists of 2 key assemblies: the matter inlet conditioner, and the quantum charge reversal device. The Master Control Center for all engineering systems. The Enterprise's infrastructure includes a number of related distribution networks. These include power, optical data network, atmosphere, water, and solid waste disposal. The main computer system of the Enterprise is directly responsible for the operation of virtually every onboard system. The main and battle bridge each have 7 dedicated and 12 shared subprocessors, which permit operations even in the event of main core failure. Protected optical conduits provide alternate control linkages in the event of a primary optical data network failure. All warp propulsion system hardware is maintained according to standard Starfleet mean time between failures monitoring and change-out schedules. Standard in-flight preventative maintenance is not intended for the warp engine. Operational safety in running the warp propulsion system is procedurally mandated. Warp propulsion system software is designed to make conservative decisions regarding warp engine operation. Emergency shutdown procedures are commanded by the computer when pressure and thermal limits threaten the safety of the crew. Failure of one or more warp propulsion system components constitutes a catastrophic emergency situation, requiring the invocation of standard emergency procedures. If those procedures fail to prevent massive WPS damage, ejection of the entire central WPS core and antimatter storage pod assembly is also possible. The main and battle bridge each have impulse system safety is assured through a combination of rigorous maintenance, computer intervention, and human oversight. Procedures exist for varying degrees of emergency shutdown, as well as for the release of irreparably damaged IPS components. Impulse propulsion systems are protected through a combination of computer intervention and human oversight. Hardware failures and override commands can place abnormal stress on the total impulse propulsion system, requiring various degrees of engine shutdown. Normal emergency shutdown computer routines involve a gradual valving off of the deuterium fuel flow and safing of the fusion initiator power regulators. Standard procedures for dealing with major vehicle damage apply to impulse propulsion systems destruction and include safing any systems that could pose further damage to the ship, assessing IPS and collateral ship damage, and sealing off hull breaches and other interior areas which are no longer habitable. The main and battle bridge, the master control center for all engineering systems, including warp and impulse propulsion. Command functions can be rerouted to this location, enabling it to serve as a backup control center. Assistant Chief's workstation. Personal access display device, custom modified with a keyboard interface by Chief Engineer Jordi Laforge. The Chief Engineer's office is located immediately adjacent to the matter-antimatter reaction assembly and includes smaller scale repeater versions of most key displays in main engineering. Isolinear chip reader, designed to diagnose isolinear control chips from main engineering. Engineering office console. Extravehicular transport to and from the ship is accomplished by a number of transporter systems, which allow personnel and equipment to be transported at ranges of up to 40,000 kilometers. Major transporter system elements include the transport chamber, operator's console, transporter controller, primary energizing coils, phase transition coils, molecular imaging scanners, pattern buffer, biofilter, emitter pad array, and targeting scanners. The transport chamber is the protected volume within which the materialization-dematerialization cycle occurs. The transporter operator console includes emergency override and manual sequence controls, as well as displays relating to normal transporter operation. The primary energizing coils are located on the top of the transport chamber and create the powerful angular confinement beam, which creates a spatial matrix within which the materialization-dematerialization process occurs. The phase transition coils accomplish the actual dematerialization-materialization process by partially decoupling the binding energy between subatomic particles. The molecular imaging scanners record molecular organization into the transporter pattern buffer. Analog quantum state data are derived using a series of dedicated Heisenberg compensators. The pattern buffer is a superconducting tokamak device which stores transport pattern data and matter stream. Transmission of the matter stream is delayed to allow Doppler compensators to correct for relative motion between the emitter array and the target. The biofilter scans the incoming matter stream for patterns which correspond to known dangerous bacterial and viral forms and excises those particles. Extravehicular transport to and from the ship is accomplished by a number of transporter operations can be broken into the following major stages: target scan and coordinate lock, energize and dematerialize, pattern buffer Doppler compensation, and matter stream transmission. Transporter functions include beam down, beam up, site-to-site transport, hold and pattern buffer, molecular resolution transport, dispersal, near warp transport, and biofilter scan. Key limitations placed on transporter usage include range, deflector shields interference, duty cycle time, warp travel transport, and replication limits. Evacuation scenarios involving transporter systems are limited by transporter range and volume throughput. Range is 40,000 kilometers. Beam up throughput for the Enterprise is rated at 1,000 persons per hour. Beam down throughput reaches 1,850 persons per hour. Extravehicular transport to and from the ship is accomplished by a number of transporter systems, which allow personnel and equipment to be transported at ranges of up to 40,000 kilometers. Transporter display is located directly behind the transport operator console and displays operating status of the transporter system. The transporter controller is a dedicated computer subprocessor which manages all aspects of transporter operation, including auto-sequence control. Type 3 phaser rifle. This weapon is rarely used on Starfleet away missions. The Type 1 personal phaser is issued to all Starfleet officers as personal defensive arms. The Type 2 personal phaser is distributed aboard ship and during away missions at the discretion of the ranking security officer. General operation of all personal phasers is standard, involving the use of tactile interface buttons for configuring phaser beam width and intensity, as well as a firing trigger. Initial power levels available to both Type 1 and Type 2 phasers are designated 1 to 8. Type 2 and Type 3 phasers have 8 additional levels from 9 to 16. Setting 1 is equivalent to light stun, while setting 16 generates high proportions of nuclear disruption energy. All Starfleet personnel receive basic instruction on the use of a low-power Type 1 phaser. Continued proficiency training in defensive techniques is maintained at 4-month intervals for shipboard personnel and at 1-month intervals for away team candidates. Explosive destruction of the phaser will occur when the energy level within the system exceeds the pre-fired chamber's density and structural limits. Extravehicular transport to and from the ship is accomplished by a number of... The weapons locker supplies phaser Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3 sidearms for away mission team members. Thermal sensor identity verification ensures access and is limited to authorized personnel. Sickbay refers to the primary medical care facility located on the port side of Deck 12. Normal on-duty medical staff for first and second shifts consists of 1 staff physician, 2 nurses, and 1 medical technician. Night staffing consists of 2 nurses. Medical care facilities available to the crew include 2 intensive care wards, 2 dedicated surgery suites, a physical therapy facility, 2 nurseries, a null graft therapy ward, a dental care office, and a full biohazard isolation unit. Multiple use facilities and the availability of cross-trained personnel significantly increase the patient load capacity of the Enterprise during emergency medical operations. Different options are available depending on the emergency severity and patient load. Sickbay refers to the primary medical care facility located on the port side of Deck 12. Fluid suspension storage module. Visual instrument and sensory organ replacement, or visor, allows subject to receive visual data from a variety of EM sources not typically associated with sight. Subcutaneous and intravenous administration of medicine is accomplished with the hypospray. This device creates a pinpoint high-pressure, low-volume microscopic aerosuspension stream that permits low-viscosity medication to be absorbed through the epidermis. The surgical support frame is a vital tool in surgical procedures, providing a sterile environment as well as diagnostic and life support tools. This is the overhead sensor cluster incorporating diagnostic and biofunction sensors for usage during surgical and other intensive care procedures at the primary biobed. A medical tricorder consists of a standard tricorder coupled with a specialized medical peripheral device incorporating powerful sensor and analysis functions. This display shows a short segment of a DNA sequence. The desktop electron microscope is capable of obtaining detailed cellular scans and molecular structure data from biochemical samples. This pad has been configured to display patient medical reports. This computer terminal provides full access to the LCARS computer net. 10 Forward Lounge, located on Deck 10, provides optimum socialization conditions for the Enterprise crew. This three-dimensional chess set is stored in the 10 Forward Lounge for the usage of the crew. The holographic environment simulator utilizes banks of omnidirectional holodiode clusters to project images and create tactile impressions. These simulations are normally indistinguishable from the natural environments they mimic. OHDs also manipulate physical props created by matter replication subsystems to simulate natural behaviors of real objects and characters. Holographic environment simulators utilize holographic imagery, focused force beams, and matter conversion to simulate environments normally unavailable aboard a starship. Such experiences are deemed critical for training and recreational purposes. The basic mechanism behind the holodeck is the omnidirectional holodiode. The OHD projects images, replicates objects, and manipulates a variety of force fields to make the sensory holodeck experience indistinguishable from reality. The control panel located inside the holodeck arch provides user control for the holographic environment simulator, as well as communications and computer access. Shuttlecraft simulation. This suite of rooms has been designated for the use of the ship's commanding officer, Captain Jean-Luc Picard. wind instrument known as a Resican flute from the planet Catan. Navigational sextant, similar to those used by Terran sailors in marine navigation. Decorative textile presented to Picard by the leader of the planet Mintaka 3. Tog, a traditional Klingon warrior's knife, given to Captain Picard in 2366 in commemoration of his role as Chadish to Lieutenant Worf. Standard Starfleet duty uniform incorporating personal communicator into the Starfleet insignia. Decorative pips on the collar indicate the wearer's rank, in this case, that of captain. This away bag is used for the transport of personal gear. Convenient cylindrical shape permits ease of transport. This dresser drawer serves as storage for garments and other personal items. Access is gained by activating the touch sensor on the lower right outer surface. This suite of rooms has been designated for the use of Commander data. Mask crafted by Commander Data. This mask represents Masaka, chief figure of the dualistic mythology of an unknown species. Modeled after a traditional Terran design, this violin was created by the ship's replicators. These artifacts were acquired by Commander Data in the process of using drama as a tool for studying the human condition. Personal grooming implements. These items are the property of Spot, Commander Data's pet cat. painting represents one of many styles of painting from human art history, recreated by Commander Data. Desk. Standard desktop viewer and multiphasic scanner. The standard tricorder is a portable sensing, computing, and data communications device. This suite of rooms is designated for the use of Deanna Troi, the ship's counselor. Kefarian apples. A simple holographic flame simulator is consistent with Starfleet safety regulations. Formerly illegal in most parts of the Federation, Romulan ale has been found to have an extremely intoxicating effect on most humanoid species. This suite of rooms has been designated for the use of Lieutenant Worf, the ship's security officer. Chair. these are an integral part of the Klingon culture. This sculpture depicts the legendary struggle between Kahless the Unforgettable and his brother Morith. This is a Klingon batless sword, literally, sword of honor. This traditional Klingon mace-like weapon was used for hand-to-hand combat. This is a Glavin, a traditional weapon from the planet Ligon 2. This shrine is dedicated to Kahless the Unforgettable, the messianic figure who first united the Klingon Empire under a single ruler.